Okay, so I've added a little chin there, and all I'm going to do is use this needle to push through into the hollow cavity inside the snail body that we made earlier, just to make sure there's a decent air hole inside there. Now I'm just going to add more detail to his face. I've added 2 little circles of clay there. So I rolled a ball of clay and squished it between my fingers, applied some slip and attached. So those are the cheeks. And I'm just going to blend them in from the top once this clay slip firms up. And I'm going to leave this section unblended. So that's his little mouth there, you can see. So it's really starting to take shape. I've blended those in, and I literally just use my finger just to blend the edge into the head. You can see it's really starting to take shape. So now I'm going to add the eyes. Now I'm going to add some texture before I add the eyes, because that's the final piece, because they're easy to break off. So I've got my barbarian tool here, and I'm just going to stipple the surface of the clay to give a skin effect. So I'm going to do that all over. That's all the texture added, and as you can see, when you put the snail shell on, you can see the texture going into the snail shell, which gives it a really good effect. So let's get on with the rest. The last section is finally the eyes. So roll out a sausage of clay, and as this is a very small snail, it would need to be little eyes, little thin sausage. Want it wide at one end and thin at the other. Let's check them against one another. About the same size. Go about there. There we are. So I'm just going to tap those, round off those bottoms again. Tap them. It gives them a nice curve on the bottom, a bit more realistic instead of dead straight. Can you see that curve there? So I'm going to add some slip, and then I'm going to apply. I've applied those, leave those to firm up. So I've rolled out a sausage for the front eyes. I'm just going to cut them to size. That's one. I'm going to turn it round so I've got the thinnest side, and then cut another one the same length. That's 2. And then I'm going to add some slip and attach those 2. And there we are. Make sure they're in the right place. You can bend the eyes slightly if you want to. I'm going to leave that clay slip to firm up. Now I've added little balls on the ends of the eyes, and I do that by literally just getting some wet slip and touching the end of the stem. And it gives it a really good realistic effect. And the final touch would be the snail shell. So that's how I turn my seashells off the seashore into a snail. What do you think? Why don't you give it a try? Instead of having shells just lying around on the side, you could turn them into sculptures. Really cute sculptures, perfect gift. And I'm going to fire this in my microwave for a raku effect, like this one. So it's very easy to do. If you'd like to follow along, I'll show the process on how I fire this snail. Thanks for watching.